There's some nice looking buildings up there. Bloody nice looking buildings. Well done, Baku. Well done indeed. We are all Baku. We race as Baku. Whatever happened to We Race as one anyway? I guess everyone just kind of forgot about that. Oh well, I guess we don't race as one anymore. Hello, hello. How are you doing? Welcome to Turn15 channel. My name doesn't matter today. Guess what today is? September the 21st. And you know what that means? It's race day. Baku, Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Here we go. Starts in 11 minutes exactly from now. Should be a great race. We've got a very interesting grid on the way. It's going to be good. I think it could be very interesting. We've got a couple of really heavy hitters, really early favourites down, buried mid-pack. We've got, of course, Max Verstappen is up ahead because that's what he does. Really interesting drivers all up and down the grid. Crazy qualifying yesterday. Should mean a pretty decent race today. Let's see how it goes. Now, Baku is usually fun, chaotic, exciting, unpredictable. A whole lot of shit tends to happen at this race, and a lot of it is very entertaining. It's Max Verstappen with Laurent Mekies. Laurent's settling in well, I think, in his role as team principal of Red Bull ever since Christian Horner got the outer. Now, the big thing that they have done, Red Bull, is they managed to get a win after Christian Horner's gone. I think that's a massive monkey off the back. That has just set this team, I think, more rolling in its new future without Christian Horner there, because let's not forget, Red Bull really is the Christian Horner, well, at least it was the Christian Horner show, and it was like that for 20 years. Well, he's gone, Mekies is in, and they're already back to winning. He was very, modest after Monza last week. He said, it's all been put into place because of things that happened even before I joined, which is very nice of him to say, but regardless, it helps. The new regime is already a winner, so there we go. Let's see if they can keep the ball rolling today, and they should be able to, probably, because Max Verstappen is out on his own on pole position. Sainz is an amazing second. Lawson is an even more amazing, I think, third. Incredible. Second and third, Sainz and Lawson is just mind-blowing. It was that kind of a qualifying session. Very interrupted, very disrupted. It looked so close. So bloody close to Carlos Sainz winning that pole, and I was absolutely on the edge of my seat. I was just praying for it. Rain dance? Mate, I was doing a rain fucking river dance. Hoping that he could bring it home, but no, it didn't rain enough, and Max Verstappen does what he does and got the pole. So Verstappen, Sainz, Lawson, Antonelli amazingly fourth, ahead of George Russell in fifth, just ahead, but ahead nonetheless, so looking to turn his whole season around. Tsunoda an incredible sixth. Well done, Yuki. Quite a lot slower than Verstappen, but running a little bit different specification to Verstappen this weekend. Bless Yuki, he's probably on borrowed time at this point, but that's a great qualifying result for him. It's sixth. It's the best that he's had so far. There's a couple of big hitters missing from there, so let's see if Yuki can keep that up when everybody else keeps it together next time out. So Norris starting seventh, very messy qualifying lap that he got in the end. A little brush with the wall. It was just one of those days, I think. He was first on the road after the umpteenth red flag, and I think he just got the slipperiest of the conditions. A little bit like in World Rally when you got the guy who goes first and just basically acts as a road sweeper. There was a little bit of moisture, not a whole lot, and I think Lando copped a lot of it, and after 3 or 4 cars had gone through, that initial slickness of the road was gone. And it just allowed guys at the end of the order, like Max Verstappen, to really take advantage. And now the pole position. Not that that was the only thing that did it. Let's not forget Max is kind of superhuman. But I think Norris, not the best of conditions. So, a little bit messy. Seventh. Hadjar, eighth on the grid. Didn't like his lap. That's all right. We'll see if Hadjar even makes the grid as well. His car is currently in pieces on the grid. I think it was a hydraulic issue that they said is wrong with the car. So said that he had no power on the way to the grid just before. So let's see if Isaac even races today. Hopefully he does, because 8th is a decent starting spot for him. 9th is Piastri. Big crash in qualifying in turn 3. Didn't even have a moment in turn 3. Just fucking sent it into the wall. So an interesting line to take. It's a big mistake out of Piastri. It's the first big mistake, I think, since Silverstone, when he had that brake checking malarkey behind the safety car. We'll see if it comes back to bite him. I mean, Norris isn't that far ahead of him, so there is that at least. But yeah, it's not great. We're getting really to the business end of the championship here. It's not exactly where you want to start throwing results away. So let's see what Oscar can rescue from 9th and 10th. Charles Leclerc, after again a big crash in qualifying at turn 15, I think it was. Funny that. Once again, just sent it into the wall, had a bit of a moment, and boom, into the wall. So Charles, at the very least, he's pushing hard, just couldn't make it last. Alonso 11th, Hamilton 12th, bad tyre choice. He says that's why he's down in 12th, eliminated in Q2. So again, the Hamilton struggle session is in session. Let's see what he can do today. I tell you, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton starting mid-grid means we've got potentially a very entertaining race on our hands. Then Bortoleto in 13th, Stroll, Behrman in 15th, Colapinto 16th. A couple of crashes between Behrman and Colapinto in qualifying as well. Very, very messy stuff. And then Hulkenberg, Gasly, Albon in 19th because he crashed in qualifying as well before even setting a single lap. Dame, Alex, bad job. And then 20th, starting from the pit lane, will be Ocon because his rear wing failed a flex test after qualifying. So that's your grid. Should be fun. Should be a good race. Now, a few things to get out of the way. We've got about 5 minutes before the whole race starts. There was, I think, a lot of overreacting after the Monza race. What was that, a couple of weeks ago now? After the team orders thing that McLaren had. Basically what happened is Lando comes into the pits. I'm sure we all watched it. Lando comes into the pits, second in order. McLaren had stayed out late, just throwing the safety car dice, which didn't end up coming up for them in Monza, and they took a late pit stop. Lando came in second, and his mechanic, front left tyre changer, basically just derped. Just totally derped, and thought that he'd screwed the wheel nut in. It hadn't worked, and he needed one of the other tyre changes to, knock him, fix the job kind of thing. So because of that, Piastri got ahead. Now, I think there was a lot of belly aching, a little bit of belly aching from Moscow, which, that's fair enough. If he feels aggrieved by it, that's totally fair. But a whole lot of belly aching from a whole lot of people online in the media, all of that sort of shit about team orders and where they stand on the McLaren team orders last time out. I think it was fine. I think it was absolutely fine, and this isn't coming from like I want Lando to win over Oscar or anything like that. I don't really have a dog in this fight. If it's not Carlos going for the championship, I don't really care. So I think what I saw was McLaren protecting its own team member. I saw McLaren protecting its own mechanics and trying to keep harmony, not between its drivers this time, but between the team itself. When you have one mechanic who potentially could turn an entire championship and the whole Lando side of the garage is looking at this guy like, what the hell? That's where you get in a team strife, and potentially you could end up tearing things apart. You don't want this sort of shit to happen when you are on a record-breaking year, and McLaren are, I think, already got the most podiums between a team. Or have Red Bull still got that? Either way, McLaren are on an absolute tear this year. What they don't want is something like this coming in and just ruining it. Especially something as innocuous as a tyre change that only costs 3 or so seconds. It was enough to do the damage. If it was between McLaren and another team, maybe the dynamics would be a bit different, but it's all in-house. And I think what McLaren wants is harmony between its mechanics and all of that sort of stuff. I remember 2016, the atmosphere at Mercedes between Rosberg and Hamilton and their mechanics as well, because they tend to work on one car, on one side of the garage for a season, for a championship, probably for several championships in a row. Mercedes ended up switching the garage personnel around just to try to get a little bit of team harmony back. There was a lot of animosity back then, because if you're working, let's say back then, on Nico Rosberg's car, you were absolutely team Nico Rosberg and you were 100% behind him. You're really, really gunning for him, and you take it personally because you put everything, your heart, your soul, your blood, your sweat, your tears, all of that into this job. And then that can turn sour, especially when the drivers turn sour against each other, like they potentially could here between Norris and Piastri, even though they're two very different personalities, I think, from Rosberg and Hamilton. The threat remains if it's just those two going for it, it can turn at any point. It could. And the way you mitigate that is to keep everything as calm and collected as you can. Long story short, I think McLaren did the right thing. I think that they were just looking after their own guy and trying to keep team harmony going, and I think that that worked. And I think a lot of people interpreted that wrongly. They thought that it was McLaren interfering to help Norris to the championship over Piastri. I think that's a whole lot of bollocks. I just think that's a silly way to look at it, and it's a wrong way to look at it as well. I think McLaren did the right thing, and that's really all there is to it. And I was honestly shocked at all of these proclamations of Pandora's box has been opened, and oh my goodness, what next? How could, where does the line get drawn between team orders? What if this happens? What if that happened? I'll put it this way. You judge by the feeling in your nuts when you're watching that shit. Do my nuts feel good? Yep. Okay, well then it's fine. Do they feel bad? Maybe it's fucky. I think you just take it at a case by case. What is this? Trophy reflex? Okay, nothing. Every time F1 puts up anything on the screen, I'm like, oh, is this from the stewards? No, it's just bullshit. 2 lights to go, by the way, so almost ready for the formation lap. In fact, we should be heading off on the formation lap very, very soon. Here I am waffling on about team orders, but I think that it needed to be said, to be honest. Too much bullshit. Too much horseshit from a whole lot of people who should know better than to overreact with just crap like that. So about 5 seconds and the formation lap should be getting underway. And here we go. The tag here watch turns to the hour. Max gets away. Sainz gets away. Lawson gets away. Antonelli gets away. Russell gets away. It looks like they're all going to be pulling away. Lovely. Now Verstappen, Russell, Tsunoda, Hamilton, Bortoletto, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Gasly and Ocon all on the hards. Everybody else on the mediums. 9 of one and 11 of other is a nice spread. So it should be a nice bit of strategy variation going on today. So, and look at that, Mercedes is actually splitting its strategy. How about that? They've shied away from doing that for a lot of this year. But it looks like they're throwing the dice today, so here we go. Let's see what works and what doesn't, because I tell you, starting 4th and 5th, even if it's Sainz and Lawson ahead of them, having both McLarens coming up behind them means that they're going to have to roll the dice to get a podium today. If every car finishes the race, I would expect it to be Max, Norris, Piastri in one of those orders. So Mercedes is going to have to do something different. And let's see if it works. Now, any other bit of news in the week? Probably a little bit. Hadjar to Red Bull looks like it's going to happen next year. Yuki Tsunoda, who knows? He says even Red Bull can't give him all of the answers to his problems anymore, which is either an existential crisis for Yuki Tsunoda or he's just lost with that car and he doesn't know exactly what to do with it, which is a common sentiment, I think, in the second Red Bull seat that we've seen over the years. Even in the old rule cycle, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, they all complained of it. And it's kind of crazy that you've got 2 rule cycle cars, which means there's 2 different cars with different personalities and different driving styles, weaknesses, strengths, things like that. 2 different car philosophies have not worked out for the second driver at Red Bull. So it's very interesting. It doesn't promise that next year they'll get it right between both cars. If it is Hadjar that's promoted alongside Max Verstappen, we'll see how he fares. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure what else you can really do with Red Bull that will help them, because it's incredible just watching the second driver struggle now for, God, this is going on 7 years now. I mean, with a little bit of reprieve when Checo Perez was there, it's been mostly just a nightmare. So let's see if it works for them. Any other quick news as we're going around one of the longest formation laps? One of the very longest formation laps. Oh, look at that. Looks like my live timing's already gone out of sequence as well. Lovely. Something is wrong with the live timing on F1, on the F1 app. I wonder if anybody else is experiencing this, but it is very stuttery, very, very slow, which never was. It's only really been this season, and it's especially been in the last few races that it started falling apart. So, I could venture a guess who's coding it, but yeah. Either way, let's see if there's a dull point in the race. Maybe I can resync it. For now, looks like everybody is coming up to the grid, as they should be. So, any other news to go over? Fernando Alonso says he might be out after next season. I'd be surprised if he's around for 2027 because he is starting to get on. I mean, he's still very good, and we see it all the time. He is still very good at what he does, but Father Time waits for no one, really. Well, I suppose it's waiting a little bit for Fernando Alonso, but it won't wait forever. Now, final car pulls up. Green flag at the back. Here we go. 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. So, decent start out of Verstappen. Okay start from Sainz. Okay start from Lawson. Russell's got a good one, but he's got nowhere to go. Yuki's had a good one. Also nowhere to go. Lando as well. Where's Piastri at? Have I missed something? What in the world happened to Oscar Piastri? He's right at the back. What in the world? He must have just totally not gotten away off the line. I just didn't see that at all. My goodness, here we go. George Russell and Yuki Tsunoda. He's not waiting around. Lando Norris holding off the Ferrari. Does that well. Wow, what in the world is going on with Piastri? That is terrible. That's great news for Lando Norris. Great news for everybody who wants to see a title fight go through to the final round. Oh, that's going to be a big, big job for Oscar Piastri. That's a very wide car there. Who was that? Was that Bortoletto, I think? It looks like a lot of... Piastri's in the wall. He's out. I can't believe that. He's out. Oscar Piastri is out. Lap 1. What is that? Turn 6, I think? It is. He's just in the wall. Incredible. I saw cars going wide there, but Piastri was dead last. He should have been able to avoid some of that. That's insane. Unbelievable. Safety car. Yeah, it would have to be a safety car, really. Well, how about that? And there he is, climbing out of the car. Shit. Well, I mean, that's incredible. So what happened here? It's going around turn 4. Makes it around turn 4. Turn 5. It's just not turning. What in the world? That must have been something broken on the car. It didn't even look like he was going too fast into the corner. He just... Yeah, it's just totally locked up on him. Okay, then. That's very strange. Now, it has been very windy here. There's been a lot of, like, tailwinds, gusts of wind blowing guys around the place. So I'll try to reset this. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Now, let's see if this works. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? Boop. That's incredible. That really is incredible. Now, okay, well, that's another big mistake potentially out of Oscar Piastri if it's him that's done it. If it's a mechanical fault that sent him into the wall, then you can't really help things like that. A little bit like Lando's car blowing up in Zandvoort. Now, we've already got some cars in the pit lane, so that's Albon, that's Ocon. You know, not really surprising. Hello, young man. Not really surprising if it's possible to get your pit stop out the way under a safety car, then absolutely you do that. That's yeah, that's crazy. Look at that. It's just in the wall. All right, well, it sucks to be Oscar. These are the moments that really could make or break a championship. Now, I've said before, especially after Zandvoort, I've said, A, it's over. But B, Lando has to win, and he has to have Oscar not finish a race. And, well, here's one. So, Norris is 8th right now, so he's already lost a place in this race. But, more importantly, he's lost Oscar from this race, which is potentially fantastic news for Lando Norris. It's like I've gained 2 little fans in here. You're right, mate. Either way, Verstappen, Sainz, Lawson, Antonelli, Russell, Tsunoda, Hadjar, Norris, Leclerc, and Hamilton. So Hamilton's already on the move a little bit. Now, what happened with Oscar here? Oh, he jumped the start. Okay, that was just out of the eyesight, I think. Okay, so he jumped the start, and then because of that, totally missed the start. So Okay, that's a big mistake out of Oscar. That's a very, very big mistake out of Piastri. And I wonder if, I mean, hopefully somebody will put a microphone in his face before the end of the race and we can hear what's exactly sent him into the wall. But that's crazy. So he's made a big fuck up yesterday and sent it into the wall, and now he's made a big fuck up on the start. Potentially he's made a big fuck up and sent it into the wall again. Alright, is the pressure starting to get to Oscar Piastri? He's usually the Iceman. He's been so calm, collected, cool all season. Now you should... you just missed seeing him go into the wall. So here we go. Anti-stall. Okay, so that's a replay from inside Piastri's helmet at the start. I wonder if we could hear him screaming in there. Probably not. He is the Iceman, isn't he? He's a real robot, that guy. I mean... Oh, I think Alonso might have followed him. Okay, I think Alonso might have also jumped the start. I think he's reacted to Piastri ahead of him. I wonder if he knows it too. I need to see that again. I was so focused on Oscar, I didn't even look at him. Now, yeah, Piastri just straight into the wall. Now, here we go. On board with Piastri. So he looks fine through turn 4. Just, I think he's, I think that might even just be Oscar Piastri. He's just locked up and sent it. Whoops. Now, what is this? Pierre Gasly. On board with Gasly. So he is just going to be right behind Piastri and send him. See him just, I think, you know what, looking at that, that's just a straight fuck up from Piastri. And that is, who is that? No, it's Hulkenberg giving a big punch to one of the Haas's. It's Ocon, which is incredible because he started from the pit lane, so he's had an amazing fucking start, I tell you. Oh, yeah. Quite a punch from the Sauber onto the Haas. Whoops, how about that? Now, let's see if I can maybe sync this up a little bit. Bit of crowd shot there. Wow, okay, so potentially massive championship implications. I think for Lando now the game changes. It's not just finishing ahead of Oscar, it's win. It is absolutely win the fucking race. If he can win this race, then he is absolutely back in the title hunt. And I mean really, really back in the title hunt. I think it would be, what is it now, 32, 33 or something points? If he could win, it would be down to 7 or 8. And that is absolutely winnable. And I tell you, a lot has been made of Lando Norris and his fragility, his mental fragility, that he's not getting the job done this year and all the rest of it. A lot has been made of that. I think, like the reaction to the Monza team order thing, I think a lot of it has been totally overblown by, bless them, world champion and race winners and stuff, but total blowhards like Jacques Villeneuve and Ralf Schumacher. A lot of them have been wanting to get in early with their takes of this guy was never good enough to win a championship so that they look like fucking smarty pants. But I don't know. We'll see what he's made of. I think we'll see what he's made of. It's what's the old meme? I'm sorry, is the game over? It's not even half time. I think a lot of people wanted to maybe make the call what the dice would be early when they're still in the air. Which is fine to do that, but if you get it wrong, you look like a tit. For example, I said that Charles Leclerc would be champion this year. I just assumed Ferrari wouldn't fuck the car up, but again, of course they would. That makes me look like a tit, doesn't it? Either way, safety car is ending now. I say ending now, but it's a bloody long lap, this one. One of the longest in the championship, so they've got enough time to maybe grab a coffee and read a book before the safety car will pull into the pits and we get back underway. Now, What else has happened? Alex Dunn to Alpine apparently was talked about as a thing. Alex Dunn, race winner in F2, Irish kid. I think he's 19 years old. McLaren junior driver. Another McLaren junior driver who looks very quick. Although not that hot on his attitude, really. To be honest, he seems to me like he drives like a bit of an arsehole, and he did yesterday too in the F2 race. So who knows, maybe he could be entertaining. He is quick though. He is quick, so we'll see if that's happening. Flavio Briatore says no, it's absolutely not, but goodness knows what's happening at Alpine and what's going on in the mind of Flavio Briatore. Now Carlos Sainz, so the safety car has come in, the green flag is waved, but we all wait for Max to restart properly. Now he doesn't want to restart too early. It's a very long straight. What he doesn't want to do is give Carlos Sainz, potentially Liam Lawson as well, a big slipstream down the straight. So he's going to wait as long as he can before he gets the restart going. Look at them all bunching up there. Everyone right there we go. Max is gone. Now everyone goes. He's got a decent jump on Sainz as well. Oh, he's totally snookered Carlos there. Oh, look at that. The Mercedes going for it. Both of them. Side by side into one. They're going to be very close there. Oh. Now, which Mercedes is that that's lost out bigly? I think it might be George Russell. It is. George Russell has absolutely lost out there. Dropped position to Yuki Tsunoda. Almost lost it to Hajar as well. Oh, whoops. Charles Leclerc's got Lando Norris as well. So Lando trying to come back on the outside into turn 3. There's no room to do that there, mate. Yeah, just pulls in behind him. Oh, shit. So, not great for Lando Norris. I mean, if Oscar Piastri is out, you never know what could happen for the rest of the championship. Potentially that could be the only time that he DNFs through the rest of the season. So you really got to make the most of it. Dropping to 9th in the restart is not the way to do it. Now, the good thing for Lando is you can absolutely pass on this track, especially when he gets to the DRS in a lap or two's time. I'd expect him to make some moves and get a lot closer to the front. Doesn't have any really friendly cars ahead of him who are going to get out of his way though, so he's going to have to really work for it. Really going to have to pull his thumb out and work for it today. I mean, amazingly, here we are, lap 5. Carlos Sainz is still in 2nd place. Liam Lawson is still in 3rd place. Antonelli's still in 4th. Tsunoda up to 5th. I wasn't really expecting that. Ooh. Now, I think that was Isaac Hadjar just totally screwed turn 16 and he's been absolutely leapt by Charles Leclerc, who's got ahead of him. Now Lando's having a go of it too. So not a great corner exit out of Isaac Hadjar. Potentially he could lose some position to Hamilton as well. Watch out, Isaac. Oh, you don't want to get involved in the championship like that, buddy. Now, is this... Lest we forget, I didn't even think that Hadjar would be racing today when he's complaining about a power loss on the way to the grid, but looks like they've got everything sorted. Lewis Hamilton. Oh, very, very forceful power move, just not going to be able to get it done into turn 3. Hulkenberg-Ocon collision has been noted. So, good to see Lewis Hamilton looking racy today. It's been a real shitty season out of Lewis for the most part. Either he's had no speed or he's had no luck. So let's see what he can do today. Alonso, by the way, is under investigation for jumping the start. That'll be a slam dunk, I think, which is just a shame. He's just moved with the Aston Martin with the McLaren rather ahead of him. Leclerc, that was an amazing restart. Look, just totally... Oh, he couldn't have cut that any closer with Lando there. Oh, now that's a top shelf overtake. That is lovely. Just how close he was, slipstreaming him, timed it perfectly. George Russell throwing out some cuss words through turn 1 when he got pushed wide by Kimi Antonelli. I mean, that's not really a dirty move. It's a forceful move, but not a filthy one. Either way, Max Verstappen 1.5 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz. A little bit further back to Liam Lawson. Ooh, Tsunoda's got rear wing mirrors full of George Russell right now. So everybody's sort of staying put right now. Oh, look at Russell all over the back of Yuki here, so he's going to be driving pissed off. I mean, what, he was upset enough in Zandvoort as well. Yeah, 5-second time penalty for jumping the start to Alonso, so the team are on it even before the FIA said anything. And he's saying, yeah, reacted to Piastri, sorry. Yeah, that's it. And let me tell you, right, that old urban myth, shall we call it, that flat out fucking misinfo bullshit that you might see on TikTok every now and then, that the FIA caught the cheaters cheating in Nürburgring and shit, and you see some cars go, and this was apparently proof that they had some sort of radio beep bullshit hooked up to their ears. This is what I'm talking about. Sometimes the guys are just so wired they will react to things that they shouldn't. Like a car moving ahead of them will just make them instinctively go, which is what happened on that day at the Nürburgring in 99. Now there's a yellow flag out, and very quickly back to green, so goodness knows what that was about. I tell you, of all the urban myths, it's probably the one that gives me the shits the most. Now that's Lewis Hamilton on the inside of Hadjar into turn 1, and he's got it done. Lando Norris still behind Charles Leclerc here. So Hadjar now back to 10th place. It's not going great. I mean, Hadjar potentially could have been third on the grid as well today. He could have been third on the grid. He said that he fucked his qualifying lap up, fucked up his Q3 lap, and it was a very disruptive session. It was hard for anybody to get anything done, really, but he didn't like the effort that he put in. Didn't end up doing any better in the last runs, and yeah, well, I mean, them's the fine margins. I mean, there's Liam Lawson in third, and Isaac Hadjar's been shuffled back to 10th. Could we see a Lawson podium today? Well, it's a long way to go, but we'll see. Lap 8. It's lap 8 already. Even with the safety car, it feels like it's going quite quickly. Not as quickly as Monza, maybe. That was the fastest race in history. Which is fair enough. It was over before I even realised that it was halfway through. That's what she said. So, as it stands, the Constructors' Championship continues to Singapore. It's over. It's over. It is so over. Now, it's unlikely that McLaren will win it today because they've got one car out. But, yeah. I mean, is anybody really thinking that McLaren is going to lose the Constructors' Championship this year? It's so nailed on, like it's not even funny. Now that's Yuki Tsunoda getting very... Ooh, that'll piss George Russell off. Yuki Tsunoda getting very, very forceful with his defense there. I think that's kind of on the edge of what the stewards might like. I mean, he wasn't really weaving there. It was a bit of a reaction, but, you know, you are allowed to do that in F1 as long as you just don't fuck everything up and put the other guy in the wall. Alonso riding behind Bortoleto. They seem to find each other a lot, don't they? This season, they're always just sort of hanging around together. Now, let's keep in mind Albon and Ocon are the only ones who have had a pit stop. Doesn't look like anybody else is thinking about pitting yet. I'm not sure about unless there's a lot of safety cars and and it saves the tyres quite a lot for Albon and Ocon. I'm not sure I really see that strategy working. They kind of change tyres at the end of lap 1, which means they're not really going to have a great grip delta over everybody else. The only thing is they don't have to make another pit stop, but I couldn't imagine that their tyres will last all that. Will last to the end of the race at least. And you definitely can pass here. Even if it's a straight circuit, you absolutely can pass here. There's Russell, not close enough. Oh. Look at the closing speed on that Mercedes though, and Yuki Tsunoda's covering the inside, Russell forced to the outside. There's just no way through. He just wasn't close enough. On his way there, he looks very close here though into turn 2. Not going to get it done. Not going to get it done. Russell's still behind Yuki Tsunoda. He does have the DRS though into turn 3. Now, Tsunoda does have... Oh, Russell's going to get him here. Yeah, easy. And he's already ahead into 3. I was going to say, Tsunoda does run the risk here of defending too hard and just taking too much out of his tyres for 5th place. Doesn't really seem all that worth it. Yuki, by the way, is fighting for his life here. Like I said before, it looks like Isaac Hadjar is going to be in that seat next year. Helmut Marko is saying that it's a good time to switch next year with the new rule set coming. Isaac Hadjar has agreed in the press that it's a good time to make the switch next year because of the all new cars and the new power units and all of that. You know, so potentially he's seeing that Red Bull will get the new rule set right at least, and it would be a good time to join in. But I'm not sure there's any good time to become Max Verstappen's teammate. I get the feeling he will expose pretty much anybody that you put next to him. Maybe some rain in the next 20 minutes is the radio call to Oliver Behrman. So, let's see. It does look grey over there. It's very windy. We saw a little bit of rain yesterday in qualifying. Just enough to make things interesting. You could see after the last red flag, before everybody went out for their final runs, the rain was falling for a good, I think, 10 or 15 minutes. Now, it wasn't really pelting coming down or anything. It's not like it's all that cold over there, so... the track was hot from a lot of action as well, so the rain didn't really stick, but it was just enough to make things a little bit slick, a little bit interesting. And like I said before, Lando Norris was the first on the scene, and you could see him really struggling with the grip on his slick tyres. So let's see what happens with the weather. We'll see if it rains any harder than that. We'll see if it rains at all. Indeed. Should be, I tell you, I can't remember us ever having a wet Baku Grand Prix. I don't think we've ever had a wet race here. I'm almost certain that we haven't. No, I'm pretty sure that we haven't. I have to go through all the ones that I've watched now, which is all of them. No, I don't think we have. So, you know, that really would be interesting, especially the tight section here where Lewis Hamilton's going through. The castle section, there's really no room at all. No room at all for error. I am shocked, surprised, befuddled, confused, anticipatory. I always thought we would get a red flag in this race because someone, whoever it may be, Grosjean back in the day perhaps, or Kevin Magnussen, who knows, or even Mazepin, somebody would have binned it. Look at the tree branches falling onto the road on the main straight. That's another feature of this track. There's so many trees all around, and just the wind anyway tends to blow all the leaves and branches and debris and crap like that all over the road. But especially with all these F1 cars going by, the sheer force. If you've ever stood trackside, you can feel these things going by in the air. They sort of suck everything by. It's quite remarkable actually to experience. But that's not going to help when you can see how tree-lined this section of the track is between turn 2 and 3. All of these cars going by, they tend to just pull branches, pull leaves off of the trees that they go by, which doesn't help when there's gale force winds out as well, like there was yesterday now. I was always surprised that we didn't see a red flag because somebody had binned it into the castle section and blocked the track. Which it is so narrow there. It is so bloody narrow that I thought for certain we would have seen that over the years. And we'd never seen it. We've seen cars in this wall like Charles Leclerc in qualifying in 2019, but we've never seen a track blockage like I thought that we might. Then I'm just very surprised that it's never happened over all these years. It's been a couple of big hits here, been a couple of very big near misses here, but there's never been a track blockage where the track is about as wide as a hallway. So it's been a few hits in qualifying on that wall that they just had there at turn 15. Nothing but hits at turn 15, what can I say? Either way, lap 12, Verstappen, Sainz, Lawson, Antonelli, Russell, Tsunoda, Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton, Hadjar. That's your top 10. So everyone's starting to fan out just a little bit here. I think they're in maybe looking after their tyres a bit. So while we're in this stage of the race, let me just say, Max Verstappen, congratulations. Had a decent showing at the Nürburgring last week in a Porsche. It's great to see that sort of stuff. These extracurricular activities out of F1 drivers, it's very rare nowadays. Very rare. A lot of it's written into their contracts that they cannot race elsewhere and things like that. Some of it's branding. If you're a Mercedes driver, you can't then go drive a Ferrari in a GT race or something like that, for instance. But some of it's just straight up teams not wanting their drivers to get hurt. Lest we forget Robert Kubica, who, for all intents and purposes, lost an arm and then kind of got it put back on in 2011 before the season started, which is a massive, massive shame. Massive shame for Robert. Big shame for all us F1 fans who wanted to see what he could do in his career. It's basically done after that point. Now what is this? Ollie Behrman getting past the Alpine. That'd be Pierre Gasly, and he's nailed that into turn 1. Lovely stuff. That is for 16th place. Not a great showing out of Haas. Not a great showing out of Alpine so far. And it's like everyone's just kind of stuck at a train here. There's a couple of moves going on into turn 1, but not a whole lot. So let's see if as the race goes on, things open up a little bit. But yeah, it's lovely to see Max doing all this extra stuff. He is at heart a racer, a true proper racer in the spirit of what you used to see back in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s. Guys like Jackie Stewart, Jim Clark, Mario Andretti, guys who would just go all over the place and race anything that you gave them. Of course, F1 was a very, very different place and a very different sport back then, but it's nice to see that old, just the old passion of just wanting to race in him. Been a bit of a rumour that Max Verstappen's looking at a MotoGP team to buy as well. Not sure about that one. Not sure exactly who he would be buying either, unless it's some sort of a connection between Red Bull and KTM. Because I'm not sure if KTM's even going to exist much longer. Either way, he loves it. He loves his racing, and it's lovely to see. And he had a great showing out at the Nürburgring. It was very fun to watch. And it looks like he's going to win today, because Carlos Sainz is now running 3.6 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Liam Lawson 3.3 seconds behind Carlos Sainz. Antonelli about a second back. Russell about a second back. Tsunoda another 2 seconds back. So we are really, Wes Norris 12 seconds off Max Verstappen. It doesn't look good for the McLaren. I don't think the Ferraris are quick enough to catch him. The Mercedes aren't quick enough to catch him. I think it's looking very, very good for Max Verstappen. I think we're going to have another Max win here. Oh, Antonelli having a decent look at Liam Lawson. Now Russell is right up the back of Antonelli, and I get the feeling he's not going to want to play nice after what Kimi did to him earlier in turn 1 on the restart. Now on board with Alex Albon. Should be able to get past Gasly. Nailed it. You could see the Alpine was just harvesting energy as well back then, so not in attack mode, and I mean, for 17th and 18th, how hard do you really want to defend that position? You know what I mean? It's a long old race ahead. There's still 36 laps to go, so I don't think it's worth potentially killing yourself over 18th and 17th place. So yeah, everyone just kind of pootling around here. It's just more or less, except for a couple of moves into turn 1, more or less just sort of feeling their way into the race now. We'll see what happens when the pit stop cycle starts up. Looks like right now everyone's just kind of biding their time. They're playing the waiting game. The waiting game sucks. Now, a couple of other things that I wanted to point out. Laura Villas. Not sure how you pronounce that. Villas? Whatever. Has thrown her hat into the ring. Declared that she is going to challenge for the FIA presidency in October. Challenge Mohammed Ben Sulayem. And challenge, what's his name? Teddy Meyer, I think. This is the other fellow who's running for it. We are looking at Laura Villas. We're looking at a 0 vote candidate, I think. Just reading her very vague rhetoric. Something empowerment, something transparency, you know, just all that usual fanciful shit. Albon in the pits, all that usual fanciful shit. I don't think there's anything worth voting in this candidate. She's 28 years old. I mean, I'm pretty sure the votes aren't anonymous either for the FIA, so they know which club around the world voted for which candidate, and I'm not sure any FIA affiliated club in the world would vote for Laura Villas. Especially with somebody like Ben Sulayem, who will probably get re-elected. Maybe feeling a little bit vindictive at the guys who didn't support him. I think we've got a 0 vote candidate there. Probably not even worth mentioning again. So Russell says that he's got a tyre advantage to get past Lawson. He says that to Mercedes. What he's telling Mercedes is, get Antonelli out of my way, swap us around. Now, you might think, if he's got the pace, why can't he get past Antonelli? Well, he's kind of stuck in a DRS train here. So it's harder to get by him there. But I guess he also thinks that he's quicker in the corners than Liam Lawson. He could probably set up better for an overtake coming out of turn 16. There could also just be a coded message to say, just let me in front, and then he would just sit there laughing at Kimi Antonelli for the rest of the afternoon. Either way, lap 17. Now what is this? Esteban Ocon. Looks like he's going to put a move on Pierre Gasly. Yeah, Pierre Gasly continues his adventure to the back of the field. Now Colapinto's in the pits. Oh, lock up from Lewis Hamilton. Very close to the barrier there. Turn 7. Ugh, not great out of Lewis. He's now 3 seconds off the back of Lando Norris. Lando Norris is still less than a second behind Charles Leclerc, but just cannot get it done. Now that's Oscar Piastri watching the race on a phone. Mate, tune in. I'll give you something to watch. Give you some advice as somebody who's never driven an F1 car. So really, we're just waiting for the pit stop cycle here. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what Mercedes... Oh, we're waiting for a crash, and there it is. Albon and Gasly. That looks like Pierre Gasly. No, was that Colapinto? Sorry, that was Colapinto. Colapinto is in the wall again. This time, it's not his fault. Oh, now he is going again, is Franco Colapinto. We'll see what kind of damage he's picked up there. Now, did he actually hit the wall there, or was it just around? Definitely was contact. Wheel to wheel there. So a little bit clumsy out of Albon today. Not been a great weekend out of Alex Albon. needless crash at turn 1 in qualifying. Totally pointless, and I guess it's just kind of devolved from here. I mean, Alex has had an amazing season, so I guess one race where it doesn't work out isn't the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I think Alex is a little bit ambitious with the pass there. There was never really a move on there. Yeah, if you're gonna pass in that corner, you have to be right on it. You have to just the tiniest little kiss with the wall. Franco Colapinto kissed the wall like he kissed his grandma. Just a little peck. Mwah. Yeah, shame. It's a shame for Franco, who's he's in the hot seat a little bit there because they're still not entirely sure who's going to finish the season in that car. Franco's on a race-by-race basis. The amount of money he's pulling from South America and sponsorship helps him keep that seat for sure. He's not quite got the rub of the green this year like he did last year. I mean, I think he had generally a better car in the Williams, even if it was a Lego pieced together kind of piece of shit by the end of the season that he couldn't stop crashing. It was probably still a better car than this Alpine. This Alpine is complete fucking rubbish. I mean, last of the championship for a reason. Yeah, not great not great for Franco Colapinto. Now there's another yellow flag. Is that just for debris maybe? Antonelli in the pits, which I assume is going to give him a nice little undercut on George Russell. Russell is on the hards though, and Antonelli was on the medium, so let's see how much longer they keep Russell out. Now I get the feeling a lot of the hard runners might have been just gambling on maybe a safety car or two in the race, and just sort of hopefully the safety car will come later in the race and they can run their tyres until then and get a free pit stop, but it doesn't really look like that's happened yet, and everyone's kind of gapping out there. Have to see if Albon can put a car properly in the wall next time for a full safety car. Now, Colapinto incident noted. That'll be a penalty for Albon, which is a shame. Like I said, Albon's had an amazing season, so, you know, it's bound to go wrong one day. It went wrong today. Let's hope that it doesn't go wrong for the rest of the season. I've got to say, Albon really has had an amazing season too. It has been very, very, very impressive. More than I thought he had in him, to be honest. I always thought he was decent. Yeah, under investigation. It'll be a penalty for Albon. Come on, just cut to the chase. I always thought Albon was decent. Not a Max Verstappen, of course, but a decent driver, and he's really acing it this year. He's doing great. 10-second time penalty for Albon, so they're kind of throwing the book at him there. I mean, you don't blame a guy for trying, at least, but you do blame him for fucking up, and he was not nearly close enough, not even almost close enough to make that move work in that corner. It just was never on. So Charles Leclerc in the pits, or kind of a standard-ish stop. Didn't look that quick. It looked a bit slow getting out of there. I mean, you can tell a really quick pit stop because it's just so fluid in motion, like up and away. But yeah, that one looked a little bit hesitant coming back out. Now Leclerc, importantly, Leclerc has come out ahead of traffic. He's come out ahead of Lance Stroll, and that's incredibly important for him. And he's only just come out ahead of Lance Stroll as well, so really dodged a bullet there. Charles Leclerc did. Very well done. Now, you're going to look at Lando Norris. Is he going to pit as well? He is running the mediums. He is running the mediums, and he should be out of range of Stroll in the next lap or two. Because besides Antonelli and Leclerc, the only other guys who are pitted are Albon and Colapinto. So I can't imagine anyone at the back is suddenly going to find speed to give any of the front runners something to worry about. in terms of an undercut. Now here we go, Lawson, box. George Russell's going to keep on going. Now I don't know about this. I get the feeling maybe Russell should have pitted beforehand. I mean, again, he's got the hard tyres on. Lawson doesn't, but we'll see if this works for him. Here's Antonelli. Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be very, very close. Lawson is already on the way back out of the pits. Comes around. Oh, Antonelli around turn 1. I think Lawson's going to get him. He's got him. Lawson pulls ahead into turn 2, and he's just ahead. Well, I'm not sure about this undercut then. Oh, let's see what Lawson can do. He's swerving around. He's trying to get heat into the tyres. Into turn 3, and he stays ahead. Ooh, shame that. Shame for Kimi Antonelli at least. Very impressive out of Liam Lawson though. Scaling it today. So, amazingly, the undercut didn't really do shit. Antonelli didn't really have traffic that he came out in either, so I guess those tyres are actually kind of holding up alright. Oh, look at Antonelli just getting all squirrely. In the apex, in the corners there. I don't know how the fuck they fit an F1 car through that part of the track. He's very slidey, is Kimi Antonelli. Driving angry, abusing those tyres. Yeah. Antonelli. His car doesn't look that happy, does it? You can just see it twitching. Twitching in the apex, coming, back on the power in the corners. It's just a little bit rear end happy. You see it just sort of coming out every now and then. He's just sort of jigging the steering wheel around. I don't think he's that happy with that, either with the tyres or with the setup. It's not giving him what he wants, but here we go. It's got an amazing run here into turn 1. Look at that. That is a slam dunk, that is. Now, importantly, what he did have was warmer tyres than Liam Lawson. They'd already done a lap or two, and Antonelli is passed. So the undercut didn't work, but the offset, having tyres up to racing pressure and racing temperature, did help Kimi Antonelli. So Liam Lawson, we'll see if he can do anything here, and he's looking into turn 3, not really close enough to do anything, just window shopping. Yeah, Antonelli stays ahead. It's been a decent drive out of Lawson, but I think Antonelli and Mercedes, I think they nailed that today. Now look at that, Kimi Antonelli. Now, the gap is 1.7 seconds. This is all because Antonelli and Lawson lost time fighting against each other. Even though it was a pretty clean fight, they've lost time fighting against each other. Which has given Russell a little bit of essentially an undercut. Well, really an overcut. But is Russell going to pit now? Because he would have to come back out of the mediums. I don't think he'd be able to use this. I don't think he'd be able to use a medium for, 28 laps until the end? That'd be a long way to go. I mean, maybe he could, but I'm not sure that that's what Mercedes have in mind for him. And he's just gone through. Yeah, Russell's not pitting yet, at least. So, I mean, this is the other side of running your cars on different strategies. I think Russell could have pitted now, or could have pitted this lap, and he would have come out ahead of Antonelli and Lawson, assuming the pit stop goes fine. But different strategies means it's not on. So let's see what happens with him. Now, what I'm very interested in, seeing what Carlos Sainz can do. Now here is his teammate. Here's Alex Albon on, who was that? Fernando Alonso, I think? Yes, it was Fernando Alonso, who has served his penalty for the jump start. Albon's ahead neatly this time into turn 1, so well done, Alex. Antonelli fastest lap as well just now, so it shows you what a nice new pair of boots can do. Now, importantly, Leclerc is riding 1.3 seconds behind Liam Lawson. So let's see if Liam's going to have a big Ferrari problem in his rearview mirrors very soon, or if Leclerc's going to play nice today. Now, the weather, the rain that was supposed to be coming through that we heard on the radio with Ollie Behrman earlier, it looks like it's just not going to be a thing. I mean, you never know if something will just blow in over the horizon at any moment, but it looks for now like it's really playing ball. Rain, rain, go away and all of that. Speaking of Ollie Behrman, this is Stroll, Hulkenberg and Behrman all in a line. Ocon just a little bit further behind. You know, I'm kind of interested in what the fuck's happening to Lando Norris today. He's just sort of holding position behind Yuki Tsunoda, and he doesn't seem to be going anywhere. I mean, the McLaren hasn't looked that quick here. I don't know if it's just both of their drivers have spooked themselves this weekend. If it's just that the car is just not gelling here. Maybe they have to run it up a little bit too high because of all the bumps, and then it's not working as well as it has elsewhere in the championship. I mean, it worked well in Monaco, so it's kind of surprising because Monaco is very bumpy, and you know they tend to run the cars quite high up there. But it's an interesting one. I thought that we'd have Lando Norris more or less in a podium place at least by lap 25, and here we are on lap 25, and it just hasn't happened. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not expecting Norris to spend the rest of the season down in fifth or anything, but it's interesting today that he's not really going that far, and he is on the mediums as well, so I could imagine that he will be pitting sooner than later. Of course, if he were to pit now, he would come out around about where Stroll is, I think. What's the pit lane loss here? About 20 odd seconds, 22 seconds. Yeah. I'll put him ahead of Stroll, but definitely behind Leclerc, which is not where he needs to be. Either that or they just try to extend his stint as far as they can. Maybe it could be McLaren waiting for a safety car again. I mean, I'll tell you, they did look like straight beaten by Red Bull last week. Red Bull going very, very, well, last race rather. Red Bull were very, very aggressive with their Monza Aero package, and it worked for them. It looks like they're doing the same thing here today. Tailwind in turn 16 is massive. You just have to back off the brake. That's Norris's engineer to Lando. I wonder if Norris is just going to bank the points today and just sort of bring it home, but I tell you, it's interesting seeing Sainz in second still. Lawson's still ahead of Leclerc. Here's Antonelli on Bortoletto. Yeah, nailed it. Into turn one. Easy pass. Like the Harmar superstar. Easy pass. That's Nico Hulkenberg having a little look at the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll. He's not going to be able to go around the outside there. I don't know why half of these guys persist with the outside line into some of these corners when you've got two 90-degree lefts with a concrete fucking wall on the outside or a Tech Pro wall on the outside of them. I don't know why you'd bother even thinking about going for the outside move. It just would never work. unless he was trying to set him up for, you know, the long way round and maybe getting something into turn 3, but that didn't work either. Shame that. Either way, on board with Leclerc. Now what's going on here? He is taking time out of Lawson. He's less than a second now, so let's see. I said before, we'll see if Charles Leclerc wants to give Liam Lawson a problem or if he wants to play nice. He's definitely catching up to him. Yeah, Leclerc's been taking time out of Lando Norris, which you'd expect, you know. Leclerc's on brand new tyres. Norris is still riding his old beaten piece of shit Pirellis. Alright, what else? Anyways, I think... Oh, who's this Bortoletto in the pits? Science Radio saying he wouldn't let Russell get within an undercut, monitoring. Okay, just a little bit of watch me back, fams. Gotcha. Look at the little train that Stroll's starting to collect behind him. Now Bortoletto in and out with his brand new medium boots. I tell you, out of the season that they both had, I would not have put, assuming it stays the same way, and it's still a long way to go, but assuming it stays this way, I would not have put money on Sainz being the first Williams on the podium this year. It's incredible, to be honest. Now, where's Albon running now? 17th. Whew. Ouch. Either way, here we go. Lap 28, Verstappen, Sainz, Russell, Tsunoda, Norris, Hamilton. Now Sainz is in the pits. Here we go. So they've reacted. They don't want the undercut from George Russell, so they're going to pit first. Looks like a pretty bog standard pit stop. Yep, 2.6 seconds for Carlos Sainz. He leaves the pits. Where is everybody else? Yeah, looks like he's fine. Ahead of Isaac Hadjar. So he's stayed ahead of Antonelli, he's stayed ahead of Lawson and Leclerc, who are all chasing him. So all attention now goes to George Russell, Yuki Tsunoda. What could they do? Now Tsunoda's 4.6 seconds behind George Russell, so I'd assume that Sainz is safe from Yuki. Look at the wind going through those trees. So we'll see. I mean, Sainz, it looks like now is still on for a podium. I think only a safety car really could change that. It's going to need somebody to really send it for a safety car though. Either way. Now, what else has happened this week, just while we're in a little bit of a... it's quite procession of this race, isn't it? Generally, Baku races are either absolutely crazy, or they're just your bog standard, and it looks like we're heading for the second one here. I mean, it's interesting in terms of championship standings, like what can Norris get out of today? He's currently running fourth. He still has to make a pit stop. He isn't going to stay fourth. Can he get back there? Because he really, really fucking needs it. I mean, today, there's no question, he needs to win. If Piastri's in the wall, still the only retirement, by the way, if Piastri is in the wall, Norris needs to be winning. I mean, days like today is where the championship is won and lost. And it's not just that one driver bins it, it's what the other one can do when the door of opportunity is open for him. And it looks like Lando's just waiting like a nerd, nervous before a date, doesn't want to walk in the door. He looks at the window of opportunity, and he's only window shopping, he's not actually buying. we go. Hajar Radio, what is this? We should pit before he overtakes me. So Hajar's just being reassured by his pit crew. So he's... Hajar's nervous about Antonelli all in his mirrors. He doesn't want to lose time being passed by Kimi Antonelli because he's got nothing left in his tyres to defend from Kimi if he decides to send it. And he is very close. He's very close, and he's on... I mean, the tyres aren't brand new anymore, but they're much, much newer than Isaac Hajar's. I mean, this is good news for George Russell, though. Like, the more time that Kimi Antonelli loses here... and I'll tell you, Lawson isn't even losing time because he's just fallen 3 seconds behind Kimi Antonelli here. So that pass was absolutely vital in the end for Kimi. It's very important for George Russell that Hajar stays ahead here, and he's not going to stay ahead. He is pitting. He cut that line on the pit entry as well, didn't he? Yeah, I don't think that they're policing that this weekend, but he did look like he was 2 wheels well over the line. And Hajar, there he goes and away, and he beats the Aston Martin, and he beats the Sauber out of the pits. 10th place, still in the points. Well done, Isaac Hajar. That's really where he was running before all the pit stop cycle started. So good work, Isaac. Job done. Let's see where he goes from here. So I get the feeling everybody at the front now, except for Verstappen, he's just doing his own thing, 13 seconds ahead of second place, so it's another Max show today. Everybody else is just maybe waiting for a safety car before they commit to pitting here. Ideally, they would get a safety car like now, and they could just switch their boots and then forget about it for the rest of the race. Tyre feels good, I think. Just keep extending, says George Russell, so he's happy to just keep going. The hard is absolutely keeping on. Generally, the less laps that he has to do in the medium, the better, because they will not last like the hards do now. This is Leclerc on Lawson. He's not going to be close enough this lap, but he is getting closer. I could, unless Liam Lawson wants to do his usual pretty fucking filthy moves, I get the feeling we're going to see Leclerc ahead of Liam before long. Which, I mean, there's only so much, I think, that you can do over a racing distance in a Racing Bulls, but against a Ferrari and all of that. But then again, we did see a Racing Bulls finish ahead of Ferrari in Zandvoort, and it was Isaac Hajar for third place. Doesn't look like it's going to be a Racing Bulls podium today, though. Just looking at the top 10 of the timing splits, it looks like the Leclerc-Lawson fight is really the only thing going on right now in the top 10. Hulkenberg's right on Stroll, and then that's about it. Everyone else is just kind of gapped. So one of those races, I guess. Anyway, Sainz Penno overturned. I guess that was another thing that was coming out in the week. Carlos Sainz and Williams had a writer review on the penalty that he copped for that turn 1, turn 2 incident with Liam Lawson around the outside at Zandvoort, which I was saying at the time was a fucking ridiculous penalty, and everybody else was, and turns out it was a ridiculous penalty because the FIA has overturned it. Now, it was a 10-second time penalty. That was not overturned because that was served in the race. You can't just, add 10 seconds to his time or take 10 seconds away from his time rather and put him up the grid. That's not how this works. So what he has gotten back is the penalty points. on a super license for that incident. He had 2 penalty points added and now revoked, so he can drive like a fucking maniac and be very, very safe in turning up the week later. Now, speaking of penalty points, actually, Oliver Bearman, where is he now? 18th place. Oliver Bearman, in big danger of serving a race ban. He's only got 2 penalty points left in the bank. Picked up a couple at Monza for the touch with Carlos Sainz. Was it Carlos Sainz? I think it was Carlos Sainz. Fuck, I can't remember. It was Carlos Sainz, I think, or... I forget. Old age. Sorry, my memory's not what it was. Either way, Bearman had his moment in Monza. That was Carlos Sainz. Had his moment in Monza and turned Sainz around. Got some points for that. It means he's only 2 points away from a ban. I'm not sure who the reserve driver is for Haas. I think it's Ryo Hirakawa. I couldn't imagine that they would put him in the car. I wonder if they'd be on the phone to Mick Schumacher maybe, or maybe try to pick somebody from the Ferrari stable of maybe Zhou Guan Yu. Probably more than probably more than Giovinazzi. They might go for Zhou Guan Yu if they need a driver to just turn up and plug in the next couple of races. If Bearman can't keep his nose clean, but he's keeping it pretty clean so far. Had a little hit with a wall yesterday in qualifying and fucked that up, but nothing that would cost him any penalty points. So I think Bearman will be turning up next time out in Singapore. Just as well for him. Tsunoda, radio call, pick up the pace. I think that could be from any race this year, to be honest. Any race since he's joined Red Bull. It's been his race pace that they've been upset with, Red Bull, this year. They've said that they're not happy with the qualifying. They can kind of give or take. You know, it's not been great, but he's been behind on car spec and things like that, you know, all season. But it's his propensity to just chew through tires, just snack right through the fucking things in the races. That is what is getting Red Bull's ire. That's why they've really started gravitating towards probably putting Hadjar in the seat next year. Which, I mean, if that could potentially be the end of Yuki Tsunoda in F1. We'll see if anything happens for him in 26, although kind of most of these seats are filling out pretty bloody quickly. 27, there's a lot of opportunity. Honda will be at Aston Martin and they will probably need a new driver. Will that driver be Max Verstappen? Could it be George Russell? Or somebody else? Who knows? There's still a lot of movement actually, potentially in the driver market coming up. Hamilton, I think, is signed for next season, but I'm not sure beyond that. I think he might have an option for 27. I think I read that he's got an option of another year, and it's on his side if he wants to take it up, which, if that's true, it's a fucking stupid move. I think any team that gives the driver the option, whether they want to keep racing with them or not, I think is has pissed their pants. Should always be up to the team whether a driver gets a drive or not, whether it's fair or not. You know, if you got somebody who is struggling, like what was it? McLaren had just a tiny contact with the barrier for Lewis Hamilton there, very, very tiny. So very, very, very slight contact with the wall there for Lewis Hamilton, but he'll get away with that. I think any team that gives the option to the driver to keep driving or not, I think is pissing themselves. Just look at what happened with McLaren and Ricciardo. They had to buy him out of that contract at the end because they couldn't just sack him for bad performance or anything like that. They had to pay him off so that he wouldn't come back. And out of that, we're going to have probably Oscar Piastri as a new world champion. It's funny how life works out sometimes. Either way, Verstappen, Russell, Tsunoda, Norris, Hamilton, Sainz, Antonelli, Lawson, Leclerc, Hadjar. That's your top 10. I'm not sure I see anybody breaking into the top 10 from here. Bortoletto's kind of on the fringe of maybe making it, but we'll see once all the pit stops actually cycle through, once all that shuffle is done. Now what is this? Albon on a Haas. Gets it done. Albon up to 14th. Albon's still got a time penalty to serve as well, so let's see. I wonder. I don't think he'll be stopping again for the rest of the race. I think Albon's done. He's already done 2 pit stops. He did one on the first lap, which might even have been for debris because he was right behind the contact between the Haas and the Sauber. So it might have just been precautionary. Maybe they saw something on the data of the tyres, the pressures and whatnot. But I think Albon's just going to carry that penalty to the end of the race and then just add 5 seconds on. Or 10 seconds rather, isn't it? It's a hefty penalty, isn't it? Which would at this point put him last but for Colapinto. Whoops. Anyway, 15 laps to go. It feels like we just spent the whole race waiting for these pit stops to cycle through and then for everybody to really get a move on. It feels like everybody's just sort of... God, it feels like the fucking... Oh, that's... Charles Leclerc again getting close, but just not quite to Liam Lawson. Lawson's driving a decent race as well today. He's really stepped it up the last couple of races, really staking a claim for keeping that seat into next year. I tell you, I was for all money thinking that Arvid Lindblad would be... Oh, that's Albon trying to send the dummy into turn 1. Side by side with the Sauber, and he nailed it. See you later, Nico Hulkenberg. Alex Albon is through. Yeah, I would have thought that Arvid Lindblad was absolutely a shoe-in for that Racing Bull seat next year, but I'm not that sure anymore. It's Norris getting told to hurry the fuck up very politely. Yeah, I would have thought for all money that... Oh, Hamilton box, here we go. So, finally, somebody from the top 5 is pitting. Now, here we go. This is where the second stage of the race, the fun stage of the race, potentially could begin. Now, I would have thought Arvid Lindblad would be an absolute show-in for the race, seat at the Racing Bulls next year, but I'm not that not that sure anymore. He's had a decent season in F2, but he's still very, very rough around the edges. I think there's no real reason. He's so young as well. Like, there's no reason to be throwing him into F1 now. I think Kimi Antonelli is a decent cautionary tale against this sort of shit as well. He is very quick, and Antonelli has been very quick, but there's just no reason there's just no reason to be throwing him in so much at the deep end. Now, Lewis Hamilton has pitted. He's come out well behind Lawson and Leclerc. What is it, about 7.5 seconds? It'll be about 7.5, 8 seconds, the gap. But, crucially, 7.7. He's got 14, 15 odd laps to make this work. He's got medium tyres. Lawson and Leclerc ahead of him are on worn hard tyres. Now, the tyres are keeping up pretty well today. So we'll see if it's that big of a disadvantage for Leclerc and Lawson ahead, but watch out for Hamilton. He should be on an absolute charge from here on out. Now, looks like a McLaren pit stop is coming. Norris, box, here we go. Now, let's see if the mechanics all get this shit right. Surely they would have reviewed what happened in Monza and you won't see that sort of shit happen again. Now, here we go. This is Lando Norris. Look at him just blast through the blast through the chicane. So yeah, I guess they're not policing that line. It's a slow pit stop. It's a slow pit stop for Lando Norris once again. What the hell was that? It looks like he's going to lose out to not just the Racing Bulls and the Ferrari, who are ahead now, but he could potentially lose out to Hamilton, or is Lewis just a little bit too far back? I think Lewis is just too far back. That's it. That was it. Lando was absolutely sailing. He was going to finish ahead of Lawson and Leclerc, but not anymore. That's huge for Lando right there. That is absolutely massive. That was 6th place. It's now looking like 8th. That's fucking bad news for Lando, especially in a day when Oscar Piastri has spent the whole afternoon sitting, scratching his nuts, watching fucking Family Guy compilations on YouTube. That's a very, very bad pit stop for Lando. See, shit like that. Shit like Piastri in the wall is championship changing. Things like this, shitty pit stop is also championship changing. So what happened? It's the front right. It's the front right, it looked like. Lando absolutely on a tear into the pit lane as well. That was very entertaining. So here is the onboard. It's the front right. Yeah. It's just, the gun's not working. Fuck me dead. Oh, no. It's not great. It's not great now. The thing is, Norris does have much newer tyres than Leclerc and Lawson, but Leclerc has the DRS of Liam Lawson ahead of him. Tsunoda, 2.2 second stop, so he is absolutely going to nail it. Surely he's going to nail this. Yeah, Liam Lawson into turn 1, Tsunoda already out of the pits, should keep well ahead. Yeah. And I tell you, Yuki is only just ahead of Liam Lawson. Now, what's Liam going to do here? Is he going to fuck around? He is. I don't know if that's a smart move. He's absolutely bossed Yuki there as well. Like, what the fuck? Unless this is a ploy by Red Bull itself to keep both cars ahead of Charles Leclerc. Damn, so that's massive. So where's Lawson 5th? Norris would have been 5th then, because if Tsunoda's only just barely gone out ahead, he would have absolutely nailed Yuki Tsunoda as well. Oh shit, 5th place. So what would that be, about 10 points? I mean, it's still not great. I think Norris really, really needed the podium, but wow, that's really, really not great for Lando Norris. So it's not just a Norris nightmare, it's a fucking McLaren nightmare this weekend. They're not doing great at all. At the very least, the Constructors' Championship will go to Singapore. The Drivers' Championship, again, looks like it's swinging back to Oscar Piastri. I say swinging back, it's already basically in his hand, but DNF today could have changed everything. It looks like it's going to change absolutely nothing. Oh, here goes Lando. He's going to need to make this move. Going to need to make it stick. Going to need to make it work. Not going to be able to make it this lap. Ooh. Liam Lawson almost 2 seconds down the road now from Tsunoda. What the fuck, Yuki? Just looks like he just let him go. Oh, here we go. Max Verstappen called into the pits. George Russell out of the pits and ahead of Carlos Sainz. So Carlos Sainz now 3rd place, it looks like, for Carlos, if he can keep Kimi Antonelli behind him. We'll see. 11 laps to go. Most of the pit stops have been served. which means if any car wants to get ahead now, it has to make a move and it has to make it work. Looked like a decent pit stop for Max Verstappen, 2.4 seconds. You know, I would call that a neat pit stop. Not fantastic, but neat. Good enough. And good enough is good enough, or else it would not be good enough. So, Sainz still riding in third. Here's Lando Norris right up the back of Charles Leclerc. Look how close he is even before the DRS zone. Now, Leclerc won't have DRS. He's too far behind Tsunoda, and look at Norris go. There he goes. Already ahead. Well ahead of Leclerc into turn 1. Nailed it. Alright, Lando. Now what can you rescue? 5th place looks like the target. Surely that will be the target. Interesting that Tsunoda's having an okay run today as well. Remember last year, Checo Perez was having an awful, really dog shit end of the season, or most of the season, but a real bad end of the season, and out of nowhere he had this just heroic race in Baku, which ended up with him and Carlos Sainz in the wall right at the end. It's interesting. I've been waiting for this race all season to see if history would repeat, and it looks like Tsunoda's having his best race in a very long time. I mean, finishing behind Liam Lawson sure ain't great for Yuki Tsunoda, but in fact, he's just taken about a second out of Liam Lawson. So let's see. Now, what is this? George Russell. Oh, that is very quick into the pit lane. Very, very quick. I wonder if the FIA is going to do something about that pit entry. There's no reason to have a chicane like that when it is so high speed, when everyone can just cut it, and, you know, turning at high speed like that just makes it far more dangerous than if it was just a straight in break. So here we go. We actually have something of a race starting to bubble up now. The whole adage of let him cook, well, it's been cooking, and it could be delicious. So Sainz getting the radio call basically saying, don't bother chasing George Russell, just watch out for Kimi Antonelli behind you, which is very pragmatic. He's already 3 seconds behind George Russell. Second place is gone. I mean, it was a dream, second place, to hold on to it for the rest of the race, but, I mean, dreams are dreams because they don't usually come true. Verstappen, Russell, then Sainz now 3 seconds behind, so I'd say that's done. Antonelli 1.3 seconds behind, Russell in 4th. That's the one he has to watch out for. Come on, Carlos, you can do it, buddy. You can do it. Come on, mate, I believe in you. Carlos Sainz podium today would just, chef's kiss. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Light rain at turn 16 is the radio call to Alex Albon. Ooh, here we go. Turn 16, that could be very treacherous. That is the corner before the main straight. So it's a very precarious place to have potentially not a lot of grip. It could really fuck you. The whole straight and into turn 1, it could really fuck somebody up here. If you get a bad exit out of turn 16, you're basically a sitting duck down the entire straight. So let's see how everybody does it. Looks like Lawson, Tsunoda and Norris all nailed that. Keep an eye on Lewis Hamilton as well. He's 1.1 seconds now behind Charles Leclerc, so he could yet jump Charlie Chuck Leclerc before the end of this race. Tsunoda now, look at him, really closing in on Liam Lawson. What's Lawson going to do? Oh, now watch out. We've had 2 Red Bulls coming to grief at turn 1 in Baku before. Many, many moons ago. Hamilton's ahead of Leclerc, so yeah, like I said just before, watch out for him. He's already ahead. Fuck, that didn't last. Hamilton on the mediums, so we'll see what Lewis can do about the McLaren ahead of him, if indeed he can do anything about it. Now, looks like a pretty, almost orchestrated move by Ferrari there. Looked like they told Leclerc just don't fight it at all. Now, what can Lewis do? Can he get involved with Norris and Tsunoda and Lawson. Now, Lando's just going to have to book it. He has to go quick. I think from a Red Bull perspective, the best thing here is Lawson just stays ahead of Tsunoda, and Tsunoda can just use the DRS to stay ahead of Lando Norris. Because I think if Yuki passes Liam, I think Liam's going to be a sitting duck for the McLaren behind him. Then again, I'm sure Yuki Tsunoda's not that interested in acting as a bodyguard for Liam Lawson here as a rear gunner. I really don't think he could give a shit. Alright, here we go. 7 laps to go. This is very interesting. Antonelli still keeping Sainz honest. This is very interesting. The championship could be riding on this. If Norris could get ahead of these two ahead of him, that could really, really do wonders for his championship. I mean, it could go from 6 points to 10, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it could make a massive difference come the end of the season. It's going to be interesting to see how Piastri comes back from this in Singapore. I think it's going to be a lot of relief that it hasn't all gone Lando's way this race. I think if Lando had won, it would have been disastrous. Second, third, fourth would have been bad as well. Fifth, sixth, seventh isn't the worst thing for Oscar Piastri. He's still going to have a very decent points lead over Lando, but really there's no more margin. You cannot be sending it into walls anymore for the rest of the year. Absolutely cannot be doing that. Yeah, absolutely cannot be doing that for the rest of the season. That could be disastrous. So let's see. Either way, here we go into turn 1, and this really is the best passing opportunity the whole track. It feels like we just spend a minute and a half just waiting for a pass here, but there's Yuki, DRS open, Liam's going defensive, Yuki on the outside, not going to make it through there. Going to try the switch up from 1. Try to keep it tight into turn 2. Norris is following him through very, very tight there. Now try to get something done into turn 3, but it looks like Liam's already too far ahead to make it work. Now what's Norris going to do? Norris looks like he might be going for it. No, just not enough room to get it done. Whew. 6 laps to go after this one. 6 laps to go. The rescue mission is starting to get desperate for Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc looks like he's absolutely just given up here. Bortoletto has turned up 11th as well. So, like I said before, he's one to watch. Looks like he's going to be too far behind. Yeah, 18 seconds, way too far behind Hadjar to make a run at the points, but you never know if something happens here. Now here we go, turn 16. It looks like the rain, it must have been very, very light because nobody's having any sort of trouble at all in turn 16. Hamilton just saying these guys are fast. Ahead of him, trying to catch up. Well, they've got a DRS as well to use and Lewis doesn't have that. I mean, Lewis has been catching up a little bit, but just not a lot. He is very close, though. He's getting much quicker. Much quicker, but Lewis is going to find as soon as he gets in the DRS range. There's 2 other cars with DRS ahead of him. This is why they call it the train. It negates any sort of DRS advantage, and then you just kind of have to rely on maybe a tyre offset or a setup or just balls to try to get your way ahead. Yeah, just keeping an eye on this Verstappen on board, because he's going up to turn 16 now. Nails the apex, nails the exit. Doesn't look like there's rain there at all, really, does there? Although he was making it work yesterday, and there was rain in qualifying, but you know, that's Max, isn't it? He's the older god of the championship, really. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton's not having any problem there either. So, I mean, as far as rain's concerned, I don't think we got any. Either that was the lightest rain maybe in existence. Perhaps it was just some marshal spitting on the track. Now, let's see what happens here into turn 1. Lando is... He's close. It's just like watching the same turn 1 and repeat over and over. The Red Bull can get close. The McLaren can get close. Even now the Ferrari are getting quite close, but just nobody can quite make that extra little bit of a percent at the end of the straight to get past the car ahead of them. Actually, it'd be interesting if Lewis throws one up the inside of Norris. Not like that, you sicko. If Lewis can get his car up the inside of Norris, then that would be... potentially that could be fucking disastrous for Lando. It's very tense now, isn't it? 4 laps to go. Verstappen, Russell, Sainz is the top 3. Carlos nailed it. Absolutely nailing it. Well done, buddy. Well done. Look at Lando go here. It's hypnotic, that helmet camera. It's fantastic. Lando, again, there's just no real opening for him. The thing is, Lando's in a conundrum here. He has to send it. Absolutely has to send it to get by Tsunoda. But he cannot afford a DNF. He cannot afford a crash. Potentially a grid drop. If he were to crash into Tsunoda and there's not enough time left to serve a penalty, he would then take a penalty likely into the next race. Unless they wanted to give him like a post-race penalty or something. But if he were to take Tsunoda out, and this is all hypothetical, if he were to send it and get it wrong and take Tsunoda out, then you're looking at potentially a grid drop for the next race, and that would fuck his championship up even more. But he needs to get ahead of Tsunoda. Absolutely, desperately needs to get ahead of him. He needs to get ahead of Tsunoda right fucking now so that he can work on getting by Liam Lawson. I think if he gets by Tsunoda, he won't have that much trouble getting by Liam Lawson, because Lawson will be almost defenseless. With the McLaren behind with its DRS open, I just don't see Lawson being able to hold it off. But when he's got that buffer of the Red Bull between them, it's just working out just well enough for him. Again, back to the main straight. That long main straight. 3 laps to go, including this one. Still exactly the same as before. Lando is still too far behind. Yuki having a little look. Now I wonder if, because Yuki has played the rear gunner all of this time, I wonder if they're going to switch him. I mean, Red Bull, Racing Bulls, they are different teams, but they have a very cozy relationship. I wonder if they would switch them. I wonder if they just tell Yuki to go fuck himself. because there's kind of no reason to. And I'm sure if the call to Lawson came, I wonder if he would even pay attention to it. It's been a tense end to the race. I think this felt like a race. It felt like waiting for a kettle to boil, and just you waiting over and over and over and over. Pardon me, over and over for this thing to boil, and it looks like it's finally started to get very, very interesting, and now it's almost fucking over. Now we could see just there, Lando would be catching up to Piastri, but not by a lot. It's really not by a lot. I mean, these are the kind of days that will kill your championship. When you are given a gift from above, Piastri in the wall, and you just kind of do nothing with it. It's McLaren's most disappointing weekend by a margin, for sure. I mean, 7th place, one car finishing in 7th place is just incredible. They've looked off it all weekend. They've never quite looked nailed on like they usually do, but yeah, it's not a great salvage mission from Norris. This really, really not great. I think the best thing that could happen for Lando Norris here is that Tsunoda tries a move and takes them both out. Well, takes out himself and Lawson. I mean, and look at Lewis Hamilton now, right on the back of Lando Norris. So Lawson's definitely holding everybody up here. That's what makes me so sure if Lando could nail Tsunoda, then he could also nail Lawson. But looks like Lewis Hamilton's just picked up a plastic bag into his inlet as well. And they got a lap and a half to run with that in his car though, so surely it won't kill anything there. His cars are very sensitive to temperature changes, but it's not that far to go to home, so he'll probably get away with it. This is it for the second last time. What can they do? And well, we're not going to see it because we're watching Max Verstappen all on his lonesome. I'm just watching the fucking the live timing. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be a rerun of what we've seen before. Max Verstappen. Now here we go. Oh, look how close Tsunoda is with Lando Norris, and he's had to go very defensive here. Oh, look at Lando. He's desperate to get by. Absolutely desperate to do it. It's just not going to happen, I don't think. Oh, he's going to have to just send it to 3, and he's not going to do it. He's cucked out of it. Lando. Good grief. Well, you know, maybe it will be a Piastri championship after all. Back on board with Lando Norris. Not Lando Norris, sorry, with Max Verstappen. Absolutely nailing it. Through turn 15. Now he's going through turn 16. Metronomic. Apex. Exit. Go. This guy's just phenomenal. I tell you, the lap he did in qualifying yesterday was sensational. His win last time out in Monza was brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Engineered by mostly himself with the setup changes. Look at him again. Absolutely incredible. This is genius at work. Max Verstappen wins. This is phenomenal, honestly. Absolutely genius at work is Max Verstappen. He's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's George Russell coming through in second place. Nailed it. And amazingly, here we fucking go. Carlos Sainz, third place for Williams. Antonelli fourth. That is just incredible. Absolutely brilliant by Carlos Sainz. Lando Norris, no, he's not going to nail this at all. So here we go. Antonelli 4th, Lawson 5th, Tsunoda 6th, Norris 7th, Lewis Hamilton 8th, 2 seconds behind. What the fuck happened to Lewis in the last lap? Charles Leclerc 9th, Hadjar in 10th. I wonder if Ferrari tried to switch the running order there and it just didn't work out. I'll have to have a look at that. Something happened between Hamilton there. Oh, potentially between Hamilton and Leclerc there, but definitely something happened to Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, just radio to Max Verstappen. Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. So, Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Antonelli, Lawson, Tsunoda, Norris, Hamilton, Leclerc, Hadjar in 10th, then Bortoleto, Behrman, Albon, Ocon, Alonso, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Gasly, and Colapinto. Dead last, Alpine, both of them a lap down. Everybody else, considering we ran most of the race, apart from the first, 3 or 4 laps, under green, it's incredible that we only had a couple of cars a lap down. And of course, Piastri, the only, did not finish into the wall on lap 1. Well, it wasn't the chaotic race that it could have been. It wasn't the pass fest that I was kind of anticipating, but it bubbled up into something nice. It was interesting at the end. Interesting to see what Lando could do, which in the end was 7th. Bump. Whoopsie. Either way, what can you say? Verstappen, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Flawless. I can't remember him making a single mistake the entire race. I think he was absolutely brilliant. George Russell, again, brilliant. Did a strategy to perfection. Except for getting bullied out by Antonelli on the restart. And there's Carlos Sainz going entertainingly nuts on the radio. Vamos, vamos. Fantastic. I'll tell you, Verstappen, Russell, great. Carlos Sainz, here we go. 3rd place. That's my boy right there. That is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And let me tell you, that is Carlos Sainz all over. That is absolutely Carlos Sainz all over. He can just pull things like that out of a hat, like a magician. A fantastic driver. Absolutely brilliant driver. Not a great season so far. I think Australia was really the low point, crashing under the safety car, but this absolutely is the high point. It's been a lot of struggle. It's been a long, hard slog of a season for Carlos Sainz. Adjusting to life at Williams could have broken a lot of people, but it hasn't broken Carlos Sainz, and here we go. He is 3rd place. Amazing. And like I was saying before, the most incredible thing is it was Carlos that got the podium for Williams this year, not Alex Albon. Nailed it. Absolutely brilliant stuff for Carlos Sainz. Well done. Max Verstappen launches into Parc Fermé. Yeah, you get the feeling he really enjoyed that win. Max Verstappen wins back-to-back races for the first time in, God, how long now? Since last year. Since mid-last year, maybe. That's a very, very long time ago. Brilliant. Top 3, absolutely fantastic. Antonelli, 4th place. Good, yeah, decent race again. A lot like Sainz, he's had a hard go of it this season. But it's a decent result. 4th place is very good. Lawson in 5th. Brilliant result for Liam Lawson. Very, very good. Very nice, forceful move on Tsunoda after the pit stops. And it really made the difference for him. 5th place, well done. Started 3rd, but realistically he was never going to hold on to 3rd place. So 5th place is just brilliant for him. Look at Carlos go. Yeah, lad, who's going to have the better jump? Oh, Max had the better jump. I mean, Max is just kind of better at everything, isn't he? Carlos is loving it. Absolutely loving it. See, this is brilliant. Love to see it. There's Darren Heath too. Love to see it. Tsunoda 6th, decent upturn. I mean, it's a shame that he got beaten by Lawson today, which isn't going to look great for Red Bull, but 6th, decent points for Yuki Tsunoda. I desperately needed that result today. Really, really desperately needed it. Kept Lando Norris behind, lest we forget, so that was absolutely fantastic. Finished ahead of Norris, finished ahead of both Ferraris. Brilliant stuff. Lewis Hamilton, well, I'll come back to Norris. Lewis Hamilton 8th, started 12th, bit of a rescue mission, you know. Leclerc 9th, same. Bit of a rescue mission today. Didn't really pan out for either Ferrari. They just didn't really look on it. It looked good for them at the start of the weekend, and then it just totally fell apart. Qualifying onwards, nothing, just absolutely nothing, and they didn't really have anything to rescue the race today. And Hadjar 10th, good, solid point for Isaac Hadjar. Solid point, well earned. Almost didn't even make the race, so good work, Isaac. Didn't really make any mistakes that I can remember either. A decent race. I think he'll be fucking miffed to see Lawson so far ahead. Again, Isaac's big sin this year was, this weekend rather, was the qualifying lap that wasn't great. But apart from that, you know, he did pretty well. Albon and Sainz having a little moment there, bless him. I tell you, Carlos Sainz is he's fantastic. One of the most underrated drivers, I think, on the grid. Third place today. He's always pulling something like that. He would pull a win every now and then for Ferrari. Lest we forget, he was the only Ferrari driver to win in 2023. The only non-Red Bull driver to win in 2023, and he engineered that in an amazing race in Singapore. He's got that in him. He's got the dog in him. He's got that fight in him. He's great. I think he's really underrated. And honestly, looking at it's a hell of a thing looking at Sainz in third and Ferrari in 8th and 9th. You know, bless him. He's interviewed by Indy 500 pole sitter, IndyCar race winner James Hinchcliffe. He's fucking stoked, isn't he? Bless him. Good stuff. Either way, I'd say the big takes out of that, Verstappen, Red Bull, again, like I was saying before, second win in a row. That's great. The post-Horner era is truly underway now. We'll see where this goes. We'll see where it goes. It's too late to rescue a championship from here, to rescue a driver's championship, unless McLaren have this kind of a weekend for the rest of the season. It's far too fucking late for a driver's championship. But it's very good for Max. We'll see how many more races he can win before the end of the season, because I get the feeling he's not done winning yet. And if he's not done winning yet, it could be disastrous for one or both of the McLaren drivers. If a race win is not guaranteed for either of them, suddenly points are a lot more scarce, a lot harder to come by, and actually looks better for Piastri than for Norris. If second place is the best you can get, well, it's harder to catch Piastri ahead. Norris really, nothing this weekend. Messy qualifying lap when he really, how to put this? I think whichever McLaren driver wins this championship should make the most of it, because this is going to be a rare year where Verstappen doesn't win the championship. Next year we'll see as well. I get the feeling the Red Bull's not going to be that competitive next year. It could be. It could surprise us. I don't think it will be that competitive next year. I just don't think the engine is going to be where it needs to be. I mean, who knows? We'll see. But my gut tells me Verstappen probably won't be champion after that. However, if Verstappen, or when Verstappen finally gets in a better car, forget about it. I think championships are going to be very, very rare for anybody else, as long as Max Verstappen decides to stay into Formula One, because he just is that good. Anyway, I think it's a good time to wave the checkered flag on this. That was a, what should we say, 2.5, 3 out of 5? Let's say a solid 2.5, a soft 3 out of 5. It was fine. It was okay. There was moments of interest. I think there was a big moment of interest at the start. Didn't quite go off like I was hoping it would, like Baku sometimes does. But championship implications are very interesting. Verstappen winning is interesting. Carlos Sainz, third place, is just fantastic. So, and Russell second. Great stuff. I'll take it. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Lots to look forward to coming into Singapore. What McLaren can do there, if they can bounce back. It's another street circuit, a lot slower this time, so we'll see what they can do. We'll see what Max can do in Singapore and for the rest of the season. See if he can keep this thing rolling. We'll see what Mercedes can do. We'll see what Tsunoda does. See if maybe he can rescue something of a championship season next year, because right now it looks like he's on his ass. Anyway, thank you very much. Hope you had fun. I will be back in 2 weeks, next week or 2 weeks' time. I think it's in 2 weeks' time for Singapore. Should be a good race. Should be a fun race. Yeah, lots to look forward to. Let's see where this championship goes, because it's starting to get very spicy, very interesting. Not a whole lot of races to go either, so it's crunch time. Lando, step on it, buddy. You gotta fucking step on it. Anyway, catch you all later. Bye bye for now. Thanks for tuning in. Wherever you might be, hope you have fun.